So, lads, today we're going to be talking about something, and we're going to be talking about the Washington Mystics and the Washington Mystics, um, like, and the Fever. Honestly, these two teams don't like each other. They don't like each other, and we kind of know they don't like. Let's be real. We know they don't like each other. We saw it last year. And it's not like these players hate each other. And I don't mean it like that. And I know everything in the WNBA gets blown out of proportion when I say that. These teams don't like each other as competitors. They don't. And the Fever are playing the Mystics on the 29th of May. So, what, in a week? A week from today they're playing? Not even a week from today. Next Wednesday they're playing them for the first time. And if you guys did not see in preseason, the Washington Mystics refused to shake hands with the Fever. Refused to shake hands with the Fever. And when we are looking at the Washington Mystics now, all of a sudden they're playing games against the Golden State Valkyries. They're playing games against the Valkyries and boom, handshake line. Handshake line. I want to see, I want to check if there's any WNBA footage of the Washington Mystics against other teams. Is there any other footage that they've played? Because look, the thing when it comes to pro sports is sometimes there's handshakes, sometimes there's not. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, the Fever or the Mystics probably did go and just want to get out of that game against the Fever because they don't like the Fever. We saw Kiki Iriafen going at Sophie Cunningham. We saw we've seen everything. We've seen everything from this team. And we saw it last year as well. Brittany Sykes does not like the Fever at all. Brittany Sykes straight up is not a fan of the Indiana Fever. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. And with that being said, it doesn't really matter too much. Like, I'm watching this game right here. I'm watching the game they're playing against the Atlanta Dream. And at the end of this game, there's no both teams are huddling, they're both staying on the floor. They don't just storm off. And that was the one thing that I would say was the sign that, okay, these teams don't like each other, is that it wasn't even the handshake. Everyone was saying teams don't handshake. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. However, a lot of people are like, oh, it's such a bad look for the organization that doesn't shake hands. Let's be real. We've seen them shake hands. I've seen them not. I'm looking at their games. They shook hands. They didn't shake hands against the Dream either. But the difference was they stormed off after the game. There was no two teams staying on the court and some people talking. And heck, we saw a handshake line between the Dream and the Fever even in preseason when Naz Hillman and Leah Boston got into it. Like, it's a choice. In pro sports, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes when it gets heated, you know what? Just leave it. Just leave it there. Like, I would assume the Fever and the Sky did not shake hands after they played each other. But when it comes to the Fever, let's be real. I would assume the Fever are going to go out of their way to stay on the court. They're going to go out of their way to shake hands with teams because we all know if the Fever don't do that, it starts World War CC. It starts World War CC. And that is it can be extremely, I'd say it's frustrating for all of those, for all those players, for all the players. And look, players choose whether they want to do it or not. You can make the argument, is it good sportsmanship to do it? Yeah. Is it good sportsmanship to do it? And if you're looking at the Indiana Fever against the Atlanta Dream, it did cut off after the teams huddled. So I have no idea whether the team shook hands. And it was actually the exact same with the Dream and the Mystics. So like I'm looking at the end of these games. When it came to the Chicago Sky game, was there anything? I would assume the Sky just did not want to be there. Yeah, the Sky just did not want to be there. Look, I think like you're looking at this game, there's no handshake line after this. The Sky are just gone. So teams make a choice. There's going to be games where there's handshake lines. There's going to be games where there isn't. There's going to be games where both teams want to do it. And I don't think it's a bad enough thing if teams don't want to do it. And I think in heated rivalries, teams aren't going to do it. Like, it's just the thing. So, of the games the Mystics have played so far, they've played, 4 games? Or 5 games? handshake lines in 2 of them, no handshake lines in 3. When it comes to the Indiana Fever, you've seen handshake lines in 2 of their games. The Fever waited for the Mystics and it just didn't happen. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And especially after losing an overtime game. And like, I don't see teams realistically wanting to stay on the floor, to be honest. When it came to the Fever, they did huddle. It's not like the Fever stormed off like the Mystics did. And that's the only thing I have a problem with the Mystics. But the Mystics don't like the Fever. They don't. Like, this was heated. That preseason game is as heated as a preseason game gets. These teams don't like each other. They didn't like each other last year. We saw Caitlin Clark shoving Julie Van Loo last year. We saw these teams getting into it last year. And that's fine. It's a sports rivalry. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing when, from a purely competitive point of view, teams don't like each other. Obviously, if we're talking about it from like a personal point of view, look, there's a difference there. There are differences there, and I don't think there's any teams and players that personally don't like each other. I think from a competitive point of view, and it's like, and even if they do, who cares? So not even personally don't like each other, but don't like each other as teams for personal reasons. And even if it is, who cares? Who cares? Like, genuinely, if Brittany Sykes hates Caitlin Clark, who cares? Because there's definitely situations, there's definitely players that don't like each other on every team. Heck, there's probably teams where teammates don't like each other. There's no way Jewel Lloyd liked her teammates last year. That's for sure. There's no way she liked her coach. That's for sure. She put in complaints and there was a damn investigation on the coach. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. And all in all, it doesn't mean anything. People are going to run with this. People being like Fever fans are gaslit into thinking that they don't shake hands after every game. They don't shake hands after every game. They pick and choose when to. It seems to happen in about 50% of games. And for the very first team, or team that the Valkyries played, very first win Valkyries had, there was handshakes. There was a handshake. And look, I am... It is what it is. It is what it is. Like, I'm not making this a bigger deal than it is, but I would rather talk about this topic because I know people are going to see this and run with it and make it a bigger deal than it is. Look, it's not. It wasn't that big a deal the last time. And look, people are like, oh, it's better sportsmanship to do it. Would I rather every team do it? Of course. But teams don't. Teams don't. At the, I don't know what it is in other countries. Like in Ireland, it's a thing that every single team does no matter what. And I know in certain leagues, it's a thing people do no matter what. But if you look at the NBA, if you look at the WNBA, teams sometimes do it, teams sometimes don't. And then teams that don't like each other, like people always talk about these rivalries between teams. Like, Indiana's true rival last year was the Connecticut Sun. Some of those games got heated. Those games got absolutely heated last year, regardless of the sky. Another one of the rivalries was the Mystics. All those games were big, and those games got heated as well. Other than the last game where the Fevers played their bench, those games got heated. So yeah, it is what it is. And then we all know when it comes to Caitlin Clark who her real rival is. A Connecticut Sun player by the name of JC Sheldon. So anyway, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.